Now, I am very pleased to welcome a presentation by students and recent graduates of UW-La Crosse Teacher Education Program. The panel is entitled, What is the Experience of Students and Graduates of UW System Schools and Colleges of Education? Now, I'd like to introduce the fifth and final presentation related to our teacher initiative, teacher education initiative. But first, I'd like to thank Regent Ring. Regent Ring, I'd like to thank you for encouraging us to hear the students and recent graduates of our teacher education programs. This is Ryan's brainchild, and it's an excellent brainchild. I want to thank the schools that release the teachers to give you time to appear here too, as well. This allows us to demonstrate that our work among students, both those who are currently in college and those who are in K through 12 classrooms having recently graduated. Next, I'd like to thank Dean Marcy Wyckoff-Horn. Hello, Dean. For her time and dedication in gathering our exemplary panel of presenters. And once again, thank your institutions for giving you this free time. Marcy, would you please introduce our presenters?
I would be happy to. And first of all, on behalf of UW-La Crosse, I offer a warm welcome to the campus. I hope you enjoy your time in La Crosse. As Regent Milner stated, my name is Marcy Wyckoff-Horn. I have the privilege of serving as the Dean for the School of Education, Professional and Continuing Education here at UWL, and I want to thank you all for inviting this panel of students and UWL graduates who are excited to share firsthand their experiences in a teacher education program. They represent various stages in the program and beyond, as well as a range of majors in content and grade levels. And I'll start at the end of the table is Melanie Matthews. She's from Germantown, Wisconsin. She's an early childhood, middle childhood major, which is preparing her to teach anywhere from birth through grade 5. And she's completing her Field 2 experience in second grade classroom right now. To her left is Aiden Murphy, who is from, I don't know how to pronounce that, Swamico, which is near Green Bay. And he's working towards an early adolescence major in secondary education with biology and chemistry as his focus in grades 6 through 12, and he's completing his first field experience in a 6th grade classroom. Next is Kelsey Kutsuki. She's an alum of 2016. She's from La Crosse, Wisconsin. She got her degree in middle childhood, early adolescence, allowing her to teach grades 1 through 8 with a math minor, but she's currently teaching social studies and science at Longfellow Middle School here in La Crosse. And finally, Garrett Zimmerman, who graduated in 2014, and he's from Hillsboro, Wisconsin, a small town between La Crosse and the Dells, and he too earned a degree in early adolescence, preparing him for grade 6-12 in broad field social studies with history and economics minors. He's at the La Crosse Design Institute here in La Crosse. So I'm going to start with Aiden, since we're going to progress through the experiences. So Aiden's going to kick us off.
All right. Yeah, thank you and good morning. I'm going to start talking about a little bit unique experience that I've experienced and that I can speak to my fellow peers in the secondary education department that we have the opportunity to experience at UWL, and then I'll follow that up with the quality of staff. When our dean asked me to pick some things to talk about, those are things that it was an easy decision. I'm a tour guide on campus, and these are things I've talked about to incoming students as well, especially individuals who are interested in our School of Education. Both my parents went to UWL and studied education, so I knew the long-standing history of this institution in the Department of Education. So, as the dean mentioned, I'm studying biology education with a minor in chemistry.
Next education. Slide, please. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I forgot to say.
So I'll be dual certified in high school and middle school sciences. And first and foremost, I got to give a shout out to my advisor, Dr. Megan Litster, because she's been the base of a lot of my unique opportunities that I'm going to talk about. One thing that I've had the privilege to do as a member of both the School of Education and the College of Science and Health is participate in research, and that was done under Dr. Gretchen Garish. Working on zooplankton within the marsh, just a couple blocks away, focusing on zooplankton. And you may be wondering, why am I rambling about this? And I understand that. But they actually found a way to connect that to my studies in education, which I thought was incredible. I was actually sitting at home in summer working on my car, and I got a call from my advisor asking if I would participate in kind of a special setup they've designed, working with teachers from the La Crosse School District as they take them to Belize to work on that zooplankton research. I have the opportunity to go into those classrooms and work with those students over our J term, our winter break, and then going into the next semester, actually getting placed in that school. So it's an incredible way to not only incorporate my specific interest in research-based education and zooplankton, as well as my experience in the Department of Education going forward in my field studies. So I can't say how much I appreciate that, because that's really a unique opportunity that they took a lot of time to create, not only for myself, but for other students in the Department of Education. So, as I go forward, obviously, I'm looking forward to share my passion of education and the passion that's been instilled by our professors and my advisors, and I cannot thank the University of Wisconsin-La Crosse enough for my time here. So thank you.
All right. I would like to begin talking about the field experience opportunities at UWL. Because the teacher education program here has such a strong focus on field experiences, I've had many opportunities to learn things that others may not get to experience before becoming a teacher. Some examples are that I've been able to participate in parent-teacher conferences, many professional learning community meetings with teams of teachers where we discuss assessment data to make informed decisions, as well as school management team meetings. And I've even been able to engage in a few professional development days. These allow me to gain experience collaborating with professionals and families to meet the needs of all learners in my classroom. Specifically this semester, I have been able to work with a student in my second grade class who is performing at a kindergarten level. It has been wonderful to work alongside my cooperating teacher and other professionals in the building to really get him the supports that he needs. I have developed a strong relationship with this student and was able to support him through the lessons that I was able to teach, and then support him one-on-one while my cooperating teacher has taught. Each experience I've had has been amazing. Not only are the experiences amazing, but the amount of experience has been so helpful as I develop my skills to be the most effective teacher. Throughout the early childhood program here at UWL, I will be placed in 2 different grade level semester-long placements, half a semester in kindergarten, half a semester in pre-kindergarten, and then either a split placement or a full semester placement for student teaching. This is up to 6 possible placements total. Being able to experience a variety of cooperating teachers, school districts, teaching styles, and groups of learners allows me to gain many perspectives on education and how I might want to do things in my own classroom someday. Because of the multiple placements and multiple grades, this has me feeling prepared to teach anywhere from 4 years old to 5th grade, which is exactly what I will be certified in. Even though all of the experiences have been great learning opportunities, there are still some times that I need support throughout the placements. This is where the incredible education professors come into play. They really help us feel prepared going into our field experiences and guide us through all of our challenges as well as our celebrations. We meet once a week on campus for a seminar class. All of the university supervisors I have had thus far have spent about the first 15 minutes of class as a debrief of the week in field so far. And this is a time for us to really collaborate with our colleagues and our professor to talk about real life situations that are happening out in the schools at that time. Our university supervisors also take the time to come out into the schools and observe us informally and then also formally as we teach. They provide us with specific and timely feedback to help us be the best teachers that we can be. This has made me feel prepared to collaborate with future teachers and professionals about problems that occur, as well as finding solutions on how to address them in a professional way. Their support with lesson planning and teaching has prepared me to develop content-rich, engaging lesson plans that meet diverse learners. And as I continue in my program, I look forward to collaborating with a variety of professionals to best align my instruction with my assessment to meet all the learners in my classroom. Building strong relationships with professionals as well as students is a skill that I have been able to practice throughout my placements and also look forward to continuing throughout my program. Thank you.
So I'm going to start with a brief narrative. As I was walking through campus one day, I saw a flyer for tutoring after school and earning class credit. So I signed up for the 1 credit course. And when I noticed that there was reimbursement, it was just a double win because I could earn class credit and get paid for tutoring. I ended up tutoring for 3 semesters at the same school, and I worked with low-income students to read social justice literature. So we conducted undergraduate action research and presented at the State Reading Conference and the Undergraduate Research Fair here on campus. So through this experience, I received a scholarship at the State Reading Conference, and one of the professors who wrote me a letter of recommendation also nominated me for a scholarship to receive at the State Math Conference as well. So that was a great experience, and I received the scholarships in the same semester at UW-La Crosse. Attending these conferences are experiences that I will never forget, especially after finding out that many districts do not have enough funding to send some of their teachers to the conferences. So I'm fortunate that I was able to attend and receive scholarships to attend both conferences. These were just a few beneficial opportunities that were offered by UW-La Crosse and made me stand out on teacher job applications. Going forward with my field placement, so I got to know some of the professors well during my field placement, and this helped prepare us for the Foundation of Reading Test, or FORT for short. And it prepared us because we were able to teach literacy lessons to students and apply that experience to the test so that we could answer the questions correctly. Studying for the FORT has made me a better teacher in reading, and another exam that has prepared me for teaching is the Edtpa, where we were required to develop learning segments and analyze the planning, instruction, and assessment strategies used and their impact on learning. So after preparing for and passing the Edtpa, I was prepared for the educator effectiveness my first year. So it's my second year of teaching. At first, I was confused because I didn't have to write nearly as much as I did on the Edtpa, but was relieved in the end because, like the Edtpa, I had to write about the standards, my student population, the targeted growth of those students, instructional strategies I planned on using, and the sources of evidence to prove growth. So the educator effectiveness is much shorter, and there are a few different parts to EE. The student learning objective, or SLO, professional planning goal, or PPG, teacher observations, and artifacts. These all correspond with the Charlotte Danielson's framework of planning and preparation, classroom environment, instruction, professional responsibilities, and is used to evaluate educators' effectiveness. So in closing, when I look back on my UW-La Crosse program and experience, I feel that it prepared me for my first year of teaching and all of the opportunities and challenges one faces. The program emphasizes growth and reflection as an educator. It was such a focus of the program that I was trained to constantly think about the planning, instruction, and assessment. We're meeting the needs of all learners, and it has become a part of who I am as an educator, making changes and strategizing in order to reach the diverse needs of all in my classes.
Thank you.
Good morning, Regents. Thank you for having us here today. My kids promised they would be good for my sub if I said hi to all of you. So if they asked, I said hi. As noted in my brief bio, I'm from a small town between here and the Dells. So I chose UWL because I wanted a top-notch education with smaller class sizes. With this in mind, I thought I would have plenty of one-on-one time with my professors. However, I was blown away by the reality of this. I had a history professor, Dr. Lee, who was not my advisor, meet with me to walk me through courses that would align perfectly with a PK-12 education. Dr. Jen Koziak, a math professor, read, critiqued, and reread my History of the Fall of Rome lesson plan, looking for the best pedagogical practices. I cannot tell you how many times a professor, when talking with them, said something close to, "Let's meet and I'll help you through it." My mom is an elementary teacher, and my dad was a history teacher, then a principal. So with education in my blood, I felt like I wanted to hit the ground running with my field experiences. UWL School of Education allowed me to do that early and often. Due to all this time, I felt like I was completely ready for student teaching and my first classroom. I was confident because I had hundreds of hours of field experience under my belt that was grounded in strong content and pedagogical practices, which were also guided by quality faculty and cooperating teachers. Now I get to be on the other side of the coin. I get to have people like Melanie and Aiden come into my class as a cooperating teacher. My UWL teacher candidates are prepared and ready to take over classes as soon as they walk in the door. I also liked UWL so much I came back again. I'm now in the UWL graduate program getting my principal's license, and I graduate December 16th. Eventually, I would love an opportunity to come back and help other UWL undergrad and grad students by leading an MEPD program here. In closing, when I look back at my time at UWL, I would describe it as finding a collegial family of educators looking to push the field of education. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. I'm going to open it for questions, but before I do, I'd just like to ask the two practicing teachers, if you had any piece of advice that you learned in your last 2 years, your second year, and it's what, about 4 years?
This is my 5th year.
Your 5th year, to these people who are going to go into a classroom next year or the year after, just one thing, think about it. What would you say to them?
When you're in student teaching, try it. Don't be afraid to fail. That's what the cooperating teachers.
And Kelsey?
Leader to it.
Gosh.
That's all right. I put you
Okay,
on a
I'm
spot.
sorry.
I think about it, I put you on a spot. Other questions from the panel, from the Regents? Yes, Ryan.
First, I just want to thank you all for coming. When we were doing these panels, I was always thinking about the student experience, and I have friends in Eau Claire that talk constantly about teacher education and maybe some of the barriers. So in your opinion, we have some people who are, you two who are already in the field, and you two who are coming up. What are some barriers that you feel hinder you, I would say, from actually getting into the profession, and what are the barriers is my question.
I'll take this one. So I'm also part of the Aspiring Educators branch on this campus, so they serve anyone who's willing to be interested in that club. And it's not so much for me as a science education major, but I can express the concerns of some of my friends that as we went to that conference, I had a friend who is a high school history major, and one thing that was stated by a lot of current teachers is that, oh boy, it might be harder for you to find a job, versus myself as a science education major. They say, okay, you can write your ticket. That felt good for me, but it was also hard to watch for my friend. So I'm not sure how that could be addressed, but that is something I think that as a systematic goal would be maybe getting back to equality amongst the teachers, but that's a personal opinion, obviously.
Yes, Regent Klein.
Yes, thank you, Regent. I had a question about certifications, because I heard some of you talk about that, and I don't have an education background, so I'm maybe asking a dumb question, but what certifications are available to you as an undergrad that you're, sort of striving for? Is it subject matter related? Is it, number of grades you will teach? And my other question is, how about math certification? Are you, in the queue to get math certified, or is that something a lot of your friends do or don't do?
So I'll start. So the early childhood program, your early childhood, middle childhood, you're certified birth to 5th grade, or it's like age 11, I believe, so it possibly could be 6th. And you're not recommended to have a minor with that certification just because it's really child development that your minor is. And then there's MCEA, which is middle childhood, early adolescence, and that you're certified 1st grade through 8th grade. And with that, you are required to have a minor, so that's where you could have math, social studies, any kind of minor. And then after that,